Hello students, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Today our fourth lesson of this chapter, Unit 9, Transport in Animals. And today's topic is 9.3, Naming Blood Vessels, and 9.4, Blood. For today's lesson objective is identify types of blood vessels and their functions. And the second objective is describe the components of blood and their functions. Okay students, so first of all, naming blood vessels, our first lesson objective. What do you mean by blood vessels? In previous lecture we can discuss in detail. Blood vessels are the part of the circulatory system that carries blood around the body, and we have three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries carries blood away from the heart, veins carries blood towards the heart, and capillaries are the blood vessels where exchange of nutrients can occur. So students, what is the main idea for naming blood vessels? Blood vessels are named according to the organ they are connected. For example, if any blood vessels that is connected to the kidney, we give the name renal artery and renal vein. If any blood vessels connected to the liver, we give the name hepatic artery and hepatic vein. Hepatic word we used for liver. So the name usually tells which organ the blood vessel supplies are drained. So uh, in simple way, you give the name of the blood vessels according to the organ. Okay, according to the organ. If any blood vessels connected to the liver, we give the name is hepatic vein or hepatic artery. If any blood vessels connected to the kidney, so we give the name is renal artery or renal vein. Okay, so next thing is blood supply to the organs. We already discussed this thing. Arteries contains oxygenated blood and veins contains deoxygenated blood. So arteries carry oxygenated blood to organs and veins carry deoxygenated blood away from the organs. But there is one exceptional case, and we can discuss it again and again in previous lecture as well. And this exceptional case is pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood in the lungs. Okay, student, here blood supply to the liver. Again, if any blood vessels connected to the liver, we give them the name is hepatic vein or hepatic artery. So the liver receives blood from the two sources. The first source is hepatic artery. Hepatic artery carries oxygenated blood, comes from the aorta. What do you mean by aorta? Aorta is the largest artery in the body. Supply oxygen to the liver cells. The second one is hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein carries nutrient-rich blood, comes from the digestive system. This is very important. Hepatic portal veins comes from the digestive system, brings absorbed food to the liver for processing. So, through hepatic portal vein, blood doesn't go directly to the heart, but first it goes towards liver and after that it goes towards the heart. Okay, son, and the last is hepatic vein. Hepatic vein carries blood away from the liver. Blood returns to the vena cava. What is vena cava? Vena cava is the largest vein in the body. But our key words is hepatic artery. Hepatic artery means blood vessel that supply oxygenated blood to the liver, and hepatic vein, blood vessels that carry blood away from the liver to the vena cava. Okay, student. Next, some other main blood vessels in the body, that is aorta. What is aorta? Aorta is the largest artery in the body. It carries oxygenated blood from the heart to the body. Next one is vena cava. Vena cava is the largest vein in the body. It returns deoxygenated blood to the heart, and it has two parts: superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava, blood from the head and arms, and inferior means the lower part, blood from the lower body. Next is student, pulmonary artery. pulmonary artery, it is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. And the next one is pulmonary vein, and it is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. Okay students, here is the diagram of different arteries and veins, and we give them the name according to the organs that where it is connected. For example, here is pulmonary artery. Why we give them the pulmonary artery? Because it is connected to the lungs. Here is pulmonary vein. It is the only vein that contain oxygenated blood, and it is the only artery that contains deoxygenated blood. Next, here is student aorta. Aorta is the largest artery in the body. Next, vena cava. Vena cava is the largest vein in the body. Next, hepatic vein. Hepatic vein is the vein that is connected to the liver. Then hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal veins carry blood from the gut to the liver. Next, hepatic artery. Hepatic artery is a blood vessels that carries oxygenated blood towards the liver. Then mesenteric artery. Mesenteric artery is connected to the gut. Then renal artery. Renal artery is connected to the kidneys, and there is renal vein. Arteries carry oxygenated blood to the kidneys, and renal veins carries deoxygenated blood away from the kidney. Okay students, so till here we can complete our first objective, naming the blood vessels. Next student, our next objective is blood. First of all, what is blood? Blood is a liquid tissue that contains different types of cells. Blood has two main parts. The first one is liquid part and the second one is solid part. The liquid part is called plasma and the solid part is called blood cells. Here student, this is plasma, okay, and here this is a cellular portion, or you can say the solid portion, and it contains red blood cell, platelets and a white blood cell. So in simple way, what is blood? Blood is a liquid tissue that contains different types of cells. It has two main parts, liquid part and the solid part. Liquid part is called plasma and the solid part is called blood cells, and blood cells contains red blood cells, platelets and white blood cells. Okay student, here is another diagram of blood parts. Here is this is blood vessel, okay, and this blood vessel contain liquid portion. The liquid portion is called plasma, and the solid portion, or you can say cellular portion, and this portion contains white blood cell, red blood cell and platelets. Okay students, here is the composition of plasma and blood cells. Plasma has 55% and blood cells have 45%. Okay, so next we can discuss each part in one by one in detail. The first one is plasma. We already know plasma is the liquid part of the blood. What is the function of the plasma? Plasma transport many substances such as nutrients like glucose, amino acids, hormones, carbon dioxide, urea, proteins. It also carries the blood cells around the body. So this is the definition and function of a plasma. Okay, so next is blood cell, and the first type of blood cell is red blood cell. The short form of red blood cell is RBC. What is the main function of the red blood cells? Transport oxygen around the body. Why are red blood cells are red? Because they contain hemoglobin, a red pigment. So that's why red blood cells are red. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin, heme is an iron and globin is an protein. A protein containing iron. It binds with oxygen and forms oxyhemoglobin, and after that it can transport oxygen around the body. Next student, where does oxygen binds to hemoglobin? In the lungs, where oxygen concentration is high. Blood capillaries are close to the alveoli, so oxygen enters the blood easily. And where is the oxygen is released? Oxygen is released in the body tissue where oxygen concentration is low. Cells use oxygen for respiration. So the two things is, the first one is where does oxygen binds to the hemoglobin? It binds in the lungs. And where is oxygen is released? It released in the body tissue. Okay, so next is structure of red blood cell. Red blood cell has some special features that makes them proficient to perform its function. The first special feature is no nucleus. Red blood cell don't have a nucleus. What is the advantage of this feature? More space for hemoglobin. The second special feature is no mitochondria. Red blood cells don't contain mitochondria. This prevents them from using the oxygen they carry. Here student, this is the shape of the red blood cell here, like a biconcave. At the edges it is thick and in the middle it is thin. Next special feature is biconcave shape. Red blood cells are biconcave disc. Meaning, what's the meaning of this thing? They are thin in the middle and thick at the edges. That I showed you in the previous slide. What is the advantage of this thing? Large surface area, and the second advantage is faster oxygen diffusion. Okay, students, the last feature is small size. Red blood cells are very small. This allows them to pass through tiny capillaries and they deliver oxygen close to the cells. So, students, these are the four special features for red blood cell. The first one is no mitochondria, no nucleus, biconcave shape, and the last one is a small size. And here is one keyword, and that is hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? A red pigment in the red blood cells that binds with the oxygen. Next type of blood cell is white blood cell. The short form of white blood cell is WBC. What is the structure of white blood cell? They have nucleus, just opposite to the red blood cells. In case of red blood cells, don't have nucleus. They are usually larger than red blood cell. So it means their size is larger than red blood cell. They move around the body and squeeze through capillary wall. Why? Because their size is larger than red blood cells. Red blood cells can easily pass through the capillaries, but white blood cells are squeezed through the capillary wall, and after that they can reach infected tissue. Here student, this is a diagram of a white blood cell. This is cytoplasm, here this is nucleus, and this is the cell membrane. Next student, what is the function of white blood cells? White blood cells destroy pathogens and remove dead body cells. How white blood cells destroy bacteria? Some white blood cells are called phagocytes. They destroy bacteria through a process. That process is called phagocytosis. Okay, so next we can discuss the steps of phagocytosis. What do you mean by phagocytosis? In simple way, phagocytosis means engulf of bacteria by white blood cell. The step one is the phagocyte moves towards bacteria. And what is phagocyte? Phagocyte is the type of white blood cell. In step 2, the cell membrane surrounds the bacteria. The bacteria becomes trapped inside a vacuole. Vacuole is an organelle in the cell. Step 3, digestive enzymes are released into the vacuole. These enzymes digest the bacteria. Okay, so next is step 4, the digested substances diffuse into the cytoplasm of the white blood cell. Okay, so here is the diagram of phagocytosis process. This is phagocyte. Phagocyte is a type of white blood cell, and here is the pathogen. This pathogen is engulfed by phagocyte, and this process is called phagocytosis. And after that, it can secrete granules of digestive enzyme. This is a digestive enzyme, this one. After that, bacteria enclosed in phagosome. This structure is called phagosome. And digestive enzyme were released to destroy bacteria. So this is the process of phagocytosis. Next thing student, antibodies. Other white blood cells produce antibodies. What is the function of antibodies? It attaches to the pathogens and help destroy them. So white blood cells destroy the pathogens by two ways. The first way is phagocytosis, and the second way is it produces antibodies. The last type of blood cell is platelets. Platelets are tiny fragments of a cell. They don't have a nucleus, same like red blood cell. What is the function of platelets? Platelets help in blood clotting. Blood clotting, stop bleeding and prevents infection. These are the function of platelets. Okay, so here is the diagram of all the all blood cells. This one is a red blood cell. Okay, here these cells contain nucleus. This is white blood cells. Okay, and this one, the small tiny fragments, is this is a platelets. Okay, so here is the summary of a component of bloods. uh, there is two components of blood. The first one is liquid portion and the second one is a solid portion or a cellular portion. And the liquid portion is called plasma. And what is the function of the plasma? Transport substances. And the cellular portion is made up of three types of cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Red blood cells carry oxygen, white blood cells fight pathogens, and platelets help to blood clot. Okay, students, here we complete our second objective as well, and there is an exit ticket. After watching the video, answer to these questions in the comment box. Stay blessed.